Naruba Shakur.
What up, y'all? What up? Is it cool if I sit down?
Yeah.
I want to get kind of comfortable. It's kind of a scary position. I'm gonna bring my girlfriend up here. This is Sixella Yokum. She's been holding me down. She did it in jail. So there isn't really a structure to this event. I was told to just let loose. So I'm gonna do that for y'all. I'm gonna start with the beginning. Previous to August 9th, which was a Saturday, I wasn't involved in any organizations. I participated in a few events and where I'm from in Kansas City, Missouri, and when I moved to St. Louis, I participated in a few events that were based around social injustice, just on my own. And Mike Brown's death, just for lack of better words, just activated me on a level that I had never been activated before, to where I felt like this was at the forefront of my life. You know what I'm saying? I had to put everything that I had to offer into it. So that's what I did. If you guys aren't familiar with the story of Mike Brown, he was leaving a store and walking back to his home, the Canfield Apartments, which is in Ferguson, Missouri, which is a suburb. Maybe it's supposed to be a suburb. It's not really a suburb anymore, but it's about 5-10 minutes away from St. Louis, Missouri. And when he got to his neighborhood, he was approached by an officer by the name of Darren Wilson, and can I be raw here, y'all?
Yeah, raw.
He told him to get the fuck out of the street, him and his friend. They refused to get out of the street because they're walking to the apartment complex. It's something that they do all the time. People walk across the street. He then tried to hit them with the car, with the SUV that he was driving. Then the first person, which was Mike Brown's friend, he ran past the car. Mike Brown then tried to follow. Darren Wilson reached out of the car, grabbed Mike Brown. There was a scuffle. When Mike Brown got away, the cop fired 2 shots at him, both of them hitting Mike Brown. Mike Brown didn't want to be shot anymore, so he put his hands up, said, "Don't shoot," and was on his knees when the officer approached him and fired off several more rounds, which led to his death. On top of that, they blocked the scene off with the yellow tape. The entire neighborhood is out there because the place where his body was, it's like an apartment complex, which it's in Ferguson, but that complex was kind of like a community of its own. If you've ever lived in an apartment complex that's similar to that, it's about 12 different units. Each unit maybe has 20 to 35 doors in it, and he was murdered right in the central location of all of that, in the middle of the street. And he was left out for 4.5 hours, uncovered the entire time. So even if you saw what had happened on social media, you were able to take a shower, pick up a couple of your friends, and go down to the crime scene, and you would still see his body exposed. One of the bullets which had entered in the top of his head. So just imagine seeing a dead body with blood everywhere, even coming out of his head. Little kids, his family's there. And like I said, you could have showed up 2 hours later and you still would have seen the same scene. And it kind of traumatized, it did traumatize everyone in the complex and anyone that saw that. I didn't make it to the crime scene that Saturday, August 9th. But me and my friends, we went out there August the 10th, which was a Sunday, and we get to the apartment complex, and there's clergy there, and they're having these like prayer circles, and you can tell that something very traumatic had just happened there. And when I get to the scene, I'm just trying to figure out what had happened. Actually, let me go back before I explain this. A few more incidents that weren't in the news that you guys might not have heard about. After he was murdered and left out for 4.5 hours, the police attempted to put his body in the trunk of a police car. Not a police SUV, but a police car. And the entire community was inflamed by this, so the police had to maneuver a little differently, and they eventually ended up taking his body in a police SUV, which still isn't normal protocol. If you're alive, they're going to rush you off in an ambulance, and if you're deceased at the scene, they're going to take you away in a black coroner's van. Neither one of those were done. He was escorted in a police SUV, which there are photos of. You can see that. And that was how that Saturday ended.